Welcome back to the Monsters of the Morning, Real Radio 104.1, broadcasting live on iHeartRadio and all over planet on the iHeartRadio app, and also live on our YouTube channel, Real Radio Monsters on YouTube. What's up, everybody? I'm Russ Rollins, along with Angel and Carlos and Ryan. We got Amber Nova here with us today, Angelique, and a special guest on the line. And I got to tell you, I can't even think of the last time I did this. But on the line with us right now, we've got Hollyhood Haley J is on with us. How you doing, Haley?
I'm good.
Haley,
how are you today?
I got to tell you, I can't remember. I've been doing this show for 30 years. I can't remember the last time I actually had to seek out somebody to interview them because I loved you on it's called Wrestlers. It's on Netflix. You were definitely the star of the whole thing. I definitely felt that way, and I'm pulling for you, and I kind of tracked you down to get you on the show, and I appreciate you being with us.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm on the radio, so I feel cool, you know.
So, hey, okay, so I went back and rewatched the show, and I had forgotten in the first episode. It's so funny that, of course, obviously it's a show, so they do it this way. But when they talk to Al Snow, and for those that don't know, Al Snow is a wrestler. He's been a wrestler for a long time.
He was huge, man.
He's huge, and he runs the OVW, and he's talking about all the wrestlers, and then when they get to you, he's like, oh, and then there's, Hollyhood Haley J. She's got a lot to learn. And as I watched the first episode, I'm like, oh, okay, well, he just downplayed her. She must not be that good. But no.
It's almost like they edited it that way.
You were the one that stood out more than anyone else. I mean, how much? You can tell us a little bit. Like, how much of that was contrived? Was that done on purpose to kind of downplay you, and then they knew you were going to end up being the star?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think Greg was really just trying to tell a story, and he's great at telling like an underdog story, which I guess is me. I would say at the time I was giving Al some issues, so I would probably agree with him when he says like, oh, I'm immature and I'm not ready or whatever, because at the time I wasn't. I still have a lot to learn, but I had a lot to learn back then too. Even watching the series, I was like, that's probably not good, Haley.
Because Haley, when you go back and you're arguing with one of the other wrestlers, and she's like, "Listen, I don't want to get in the ring with her. She was just smoking out in the parking lot, and that's not safe." And then you go, I ain't gonna lie, I was, and you get all in her face, and you're like, yeah, so what? Like, and I'm like, oh my God, she's getting mouthy. Like when you see that, I mean, it's got to make you laugh. But do you go, oh, that might not have been good?
Yeah. A little bit of both. They did, like you said, they kind of filmed things out of order. If you notice, I had long hair, short hair, long hair, short hair. So that should tell you that things were kind of out of order. But as far as that situation goes, it wasn't necessarily that I had smoked right before we were supposed to wrestle. I think that she had a problem with smoking and drinking in general.
In general, yeah.
In her match or not in the match. And for the record, I have never hurt anyone in any of my matches, and I am a big pothead.
Yeah. I mean, it's not cocaine. You're not doing a line before you jump out there. It's weed. Nobody's like, you might be calmer.
And I really, I did before go and smoke outside the building, but obviously I learned my lesson on that. And Al was not very happy re-seeing that.
Well, Haley, they have you driving down the street with a car, and your steering wheel looks like it could catch on fire, and you're smoking and lighting the cigarette. I'm like, what is she doing?
Yeah, no, that's probably one of my bad habits is smoking, but I've already been working on that. Like I said, I don't smoke right outside the shows anymore. I am still a pothead, you guys, but I'm working better with people, I guess. Like I'm trying to be respectful to them.
Hey, so
Haley, true. Stay real. Don't change. Stay real.
And another thing too. I mean, how did you feel about all the personal stuff that you talked about? Because I mean, you talked about. I mean, your mom had been arrested a couple times when you were really, really young. I mean, like 2 and 7, and she went to prison, and then you just had this incredibly tough upbringing. But then you used all of that angst and all that anger to have a match with your mom, and you guys went.
What?
They went hardcore, and they're.
Are you serious?
I mean, bleeding and they went hard.
You're insane, honey. You're crazy.
Like when you see all that stuff, Haley, do you go, oh man, maybe me and mom shouldn't have done that?
No. I think I'm not typically a fan of like death matches or whatever, but she loves it. She's a death match superstar. I just like the more wrestling, entertainment, whatever. But I think that we told a great story within the death match thing. So
Yeah.
So your mom is into
really
death.
liked it. I'm glad that I got to do that with my mom. I'm young now, so even later on down the road, I will like cherish these
So your
moments,
mom is the wrestler in the family, then?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, I didn't watch the show yet. I've heard it from Russ, and Russ he never does this. He never seeks somebody out, but he really loved you. And now I'm glad we're getting talking to you. So your mom. Because that's kind of rare. Like normally, you hear the dad's the wrestler, or it's you know. So how was that? How were you? I mean, obviously you were inspired, but how'd you grow up in the industry? Obviously.
Well, so my mom had a friend who was on the indies, and I didn't even know what the indies were, and she took me to my first indie show, and then I kind of realized, like, I think I was like 8, 10 maybe. I'm like, Mom, you could do this. Like, she's taking pictures. I'm like, you should wrestle with your friend. And she was like, eh. And then she got in there and started doing it. So then after that, I think I knew like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter if I'm in high school playing basketball, volleyball. It didn't matter what I was doing. I think I just always knew like, set myself up for success.
I love it. And when she does this match with her mom, they cut a promo, which you know what that is.
Sure.
And when they cut a promo, Hollyhood Haley J just starts letting her have it and talking about how horrible of a mom she was. And you could tell, like, there was some reality. There was a little bit of reality in that. And then after they cut it, you're like, hey, Mom, I love you. Sorry. But you were kind of unleashing a little bit. That's like good therapy for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I obviously had a lot of built up resentment towards my mother.
Yeah.
Before I started wrestling, we really weren't even talking. I lived in Frankfurt. She's been wrestling, doing whatever she was doing, and I was doing my own thing, which was a lot worse than what I'm doing now. And yeah, I think that so it made it easier for me to put it in real life perspective, but also, you know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Mom, I love you. Because I have grown up, and I'm not upset with her for any of the things that I went through. Because if I didn't go through any of that, I wouldn't be Hollyhood Haley.
There you go.
And by the way, your ring persona is honestly, I just thought it was. I used to wrestle a little bit. I know a lot of wrestlers. You do an incredible job. What these guys don't know is something that you talked about in the show. It's called Wrestlers. It's on Netflix. Hollyhood Haley J talked about why she got into wrestling, or the moment that you decided to really want to make it is when someone they had a gun to your head and you said, I don't care, pull the trigger, but then they put the gun to your son's head, and that's when you decided, hey, I gotta straighten things up. Tell us about that.
Yes, that was my breaking point, I would say, because I kept falling on my butt and just kind of being like, I keep wrestling's in my mind, but I would never do it. I think I went and had one training session, and I took a bunch of bumps, and I hit my head every single time. And it was in front of my 2 friends that I love dearly, and I was embarrassed, and I was like, you know what? I don't really know if I can do this, And then they kept encouraging me or whatever, and then you continue to hit rock bottom, and then you have a traumatic situation happen like that. And I did say, whatever, if you want to pull it. That's young Haley J. But I was right about one thing, my child, and that's the most important thing in life. He's the only reason why I'm living. He's the reason why I'm wrestling. So yeah, that was the changing point for me. Basically, I sold drugs back in the day.
I was about to say, were you hustling?
Yeah,
I was just about to say, were you hustling? Because it sounded like you were hustling. Had to do what you had to do.
Yeah. Not anymore. I'm just strictly wrestling.
It comes off though. You come off as a good mother in on the TV show Wrestlers, because when they show you with your son and wrestling with your son, and so you come off. I think you come off great. And then of course, well, I won't give the end away, but the end of the very last episode is a pretty great episode for you. So with all this attention with Netflix, how has it been for your career? Because I mean, are you still with OVW? Have you gone on to other things? And I know you have something coming up this weekend in Melbourne, right?
I do. Yep, I'm there by you all. You all can come see me. It's my first time ever wrestling out there.
Heck yeah.
I am still with OVW. OVW will always be home. I have also was supposed to have a WWE tryout, but my medical paperwork didn't go through. My doctor is having a little bit of problems with my epilepsy. They're not wanting me to go through and do that.
That's a
so
big
I
thing.
have to find a second opinion, and then they invited me to come back. So my WWE is on hold, but they are interested. And then, anyone else who wants me, I'm kind of just floating around until I get this doctor thing situated.
Let me ask you a question, because I have another really good friend who is a wrestler, and she's right here, Amber Nova, and she kind of feels the same way, like, well, if I don't make it in WWE, I didn't make it in life. Is that the way you feel about it? Because, I mean, I don't know. Is that the way you feel about it?
Yes and no. I have already made it in life because I was doing, like I said, worse things before, and I'm trying to do better for my child, which I am. So that's a win. But WWE is the goal, man. That's the main stage. That's where you can make the most money. That's where all the history is. Like,
I mean,
if we're not going to WWE, what are we doing?
But you can also be successful in other companies. There's so many out there. There's AEW. There's Impact.
Yeah.
Obviously Japan, huge.
AEW's
huge
on my
Japan.
radar too. I'll take AEW, WWE, NWA.
What about Japan?
Everyone else?
You wouldn't want to go to Japan?
I would go to Japan if the opportunity was put on the table for me, but I am not looking like, let me go get my ass kicked. Let me go do 500 squats.
The girls strong style.
I feel like I'm
Japanese.
a superstar. I've learned the TV style. I've been working TV since I did a whole year of the indies, and then I went to TV and been working that style, work at WOW. So it's just like, no, I want to do TV style wrestling.
Yeah.
Hollyhood, always up to no good. Listen, so let me ask you, you seem very honest and real, and I'm really enjoying this interview. I didn't know what to expect.
I told you guys.
And you got something special about you. And so let me ask you, I've had some similar kind of parallels like going on these shows. Was the reaction what you thought it was going to be in the sense of, oh, damn, I'm going to get way more attention, or was it less? Like, I know Russ kind of asked you a question in that realm, but like on the real, like where you're like, damn, I kind of thought I'd get way more, or wow, I'm getting way more than I even thought.
I would probably go with the way more than I thought.
Oh, I knew that question was going to get him.
Oh, no.
No.
I actually got a phone call.
That's WWE.
You guys, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's all good. It's all
Okay,
good.
but to answer your question, yes, I think I got way more than I expected. I definitely got more positive feedback than I expected, because if you guys know Hollyhood Haley J, the internet hates me. Everyone on the internet hates me.
Really?
So I was kind of expecting the same thing for when this came out. Everyone was going to be like, oh, it's this girl. Oh. So I'm like, okay, but it was the complete opposite. I got a lot of love, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably hate you because you're a heel and that you're doing your job, but you're a lovable heel, which I think is great. I just got to tell you another thing as well. There's someone that we all know very well who you remind us of, and it's a friend of ours named Savannah. And Savannah so reminds me of you when she was younger. And now she's this huge. She's a
superstar,
a brand ambassador for Gatorland, and it's not what she thought she was going to end up doing. But she's a super success because of her personality at Gatorland, and also Gatorland Global and all this other stuff. But you remind me of her so much, and I am rooting for you, Hollyhood, Haley J.
Absolutely.
And if you're ever in Orlando, please stay in touch with me, because you've been so kind getting back and forth with me. And I would love to have you come in the studio. We could talk to you a little bit more and get to know you a little bit more. But thank you for taking time to talk to us. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
All right. And then this weekend in Melbourne, where's the show?
It is, if you look at the bottom of that.
And this weekend, it's going to be October 14th. It's going to be in Wickham Park Community Center in Melbourne, Florida. Go see Hollywood Haley J.
Hollyhood, Haley J. Thanks.
I'm not mad because you did the announcement for me. I'm not mad at you. But
I got you.
Hey, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck to you, okay?
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, you take care. There you go. All right. I told you it was going to be
She's
good.
awesome.
She is, man. I tell you what, she is the star of that daggone show.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance to watch it, it's on Netflix, and it's called Wrestlers, and she a complete mess when she was young. I mean, a complete mess, but she cleaned herself up, and she's doing very, very well.
Keeps it real.